Yes, you are listening to the Ready, Set, Retire radio podcast with Steve Anzuoni. My name is Jessica Forkel. Get more details on the website at fairwayfinancial.net. Now, here's the deal. If you were meeting with your financial advisor before the end of the year, hopefully you talked about taxes. And again, with another year up in the market, tax loss harvesting, not such a big factor as it has been in previous years, but you also have things to think about like maximizing out accounts, charitable giving, RMDs. Those are all very much still part of that picture here. So, Steve, you know, right now, and I know a lot of folks are coming in to meet with you, and taxes is a big conversation right here. What are some of those conversations about?
Yeah, of course. I mean, between now and April 15th, it's always the talk of the town, as it should be. And just so for the record, tax harvesting has nothing to do with farming. Tax harvesting, and my investment person, Vincent, actually called me about it too in December, like a good proactive person that he is. And he said he did that for over 153, I think, 153 accounts.
Woo.
So he was busy. So what that is looking at your portfolio, particularly non-qualified money, Jess, because that's where it really plays a role. If you have passive gains, so if you have a stock that's done well, and obviously last year most of them did, and then you have kind of a dog in there, you know, one that hasn't done that well or has lost money, you can take a passive gain and offset it with a passive loss. So passive meaning you didn't go out and earn the money. It was earned, obviously, in your stocks that you had. Say you had a stock that was down 4,000 and you had a stock that was up 4,000. You could sell those and offset it so there'd be zero tax on the gain. So that's how you can use that to be more proactive. And my investment guy is very, very proactive in that and does that quite a bit. I mean, obviously, we don't do that here in-house. That's why we have a great team that we work with. But that's one of the things. But this year, now that we're into January, because obviously that had to happen last year, we need to talk about being more proactive. So now's the time of year where people say, I wish I did this. Well, you know what? Stop wishing and get on it early so that it doesn't happen again. Did you max out your 401k? Did you max out at least your matching contribution? Those are some great questions. Obviously, this is the RMD talk time of the year, and a lot of people do it once a year or however you want to do it, but you can get proactive with this. So, okay, here's an idea I'm going to share, Jess, that one of the speakers at the event that I attended talked about, and I do too, but it's good to hear someone else talk about it, Jess, because then it refreshes your mind. It makes you like, hey, wait a minute. I've been talking about that for years, but really, have I? Or have I just sat on my laurels? And so this is something really, really interesting, especially if you're in a situation where you don't need your RMD, which is required minimum distribution from your 401k or IRA. So what most people do is they take the money reluctantly. They have to. They pay the tax, and then they stick it in the bank or somewhere where it's, maybe not as effective as it could be. So how about this idea? Why not take a piece of that distribution? Let's say you have a $500,000 401k that you have to take money out of. And let's just assume that it's roughly 4% of that is the minimum distribution number. So let's just call it round numbers, about $20,000 you have to take. Obviously, you're going to pay taxes. So after taxes, let's just assume, again, keep it simple math, you pay $5,000 in taxes, you have $15,000 left. Why not take, let's say, $10,000 of that, set it aside in a special trust, a special account, that it can leverage itself and multiply itself depending on your age. And what I'm talking about here is called a second to die life insurance policy. If you're married, second to die. If you're single, obviously it's a single life. Okay, now why would you do that? Steve, I'm 73, 74. I mean, I'm old. I don't want life insurance. I don't need life insurance. But wait a minute. We're talking about leverage here. We're talking about taking $10,000 and turning it into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let me back up. Hundreds of tax-free dollars. The big difference there. So I met with someone a few weeks back, and we talked about this strategy. And he said, Steve, I never really looked at it that way. He was very, very well off. He's doing very well for himself, him and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, that makes a lot of sense. I can literally make a gift to a trust that I don't own. And by making that gift, I reduce my estate. Beautiful. I make the gift to this trust. This trust pays the premium on a policy. And in his case, it was over $1 million. Tax-free. So remember, your IRA, your 401ks are all taxable to everybody involved, especially, children have to spend that money within 10 years.
That's
so
right.
The IRS got you right there. So this is a strategy that takes a little bit of piece of that, creates this wonderful legacy, this estate, this tax-free estate that gives the beneficiaries all kinds of control over the money. Again, there's no taxes, folks. What else would you want to leave someone, especially your kids, your grandkids, tax-free money? So there's my idea. Yeah, I'm a little over the top excited about it, but I should be.
Hey, man, I'm excited about tax-free. Tax-free is the way to be, if you ask me.
It's unbelievable leverage. And so people don't look at life insurance as a leverage tool for estate planning. Sometimes they look at it as, well, I needed it when I had a mortgage. I needed it when I was younger. I needed it when I have kids at home. Very, very true statements. But as life changes, needs change. And let's look at the best way to leverage your money. It's just a fantastic idea. So there it is. Idea one. We're going to share another type of idea later in the show. So you're going to have to listen. I'm going to catch you up.
Absolutely. As we talked about here, tax planning, first of all, is something that's a conversation that should happen year round, not just right now and not just on April 15th, guys. This is something that should be continuously planned and analyzed and, revived at times if need be. So if you were looking for a tax analysis, maybe you would need to understand your taxes more, especially as you get closer to retirement or you're in retirement. You want to make sure you're being as tax efficient as possible. Plus, if you want to hear more about these tax-free opportunities when it comes to that tax-free legacy that Steve was just talking about, give us a call today. That's 508-552-3230. 508-552-3230. The website, fairwayfinancial.net. Ramit Sethi is a financial author, and he recently tells Morningstar that the biggest mistake couples make in planning for retirement is they designate one person as the money person while the other just kind of tunes out.
Here's the dynamic. We intuitively divide up responsibilities in a relationship. One person empties the dishwasher, the other mows the lawn. I get that. But money is unlike any of those things. Money is much more similar to parenting. It encompasses every part of life. And you would rarely see a couple, especially these days, who says like, oh, he does the parenting or she does the parenting. No, it's like, right, we both do it. We talk about it every day. And that is the same with money.
Well, here's the deal. I guess there is that thing, the husband or wife does this and I do the trash and you clean the bathrooms or whatever it is. You divide it up. But when it comes to talking about your money and your retirement, I can't agree more. Everybody needs to be on the same page. Everybody needs to be a part of that planning process, right?
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate of that. I have couples come in all the time and it's like, well, he does the money or she does the money. And I'm like, no, when you're sitting with me, you're both going to do the money. And here's why. Mm-hmm. Unless you can tell me who's going to die first, you both need to know a little something about this because that's the challenge. And just because one person is maybe more geared toward it, likes numbers better, doesn't mean that the other person can't have a basic understanding of what's going on. That's very, very important to me when we sit down and we talk. I'm not saying you have to know everything about it, but you need to know enough to say, all right, if this happens, this is what I need to do. This is who I need to call. And we can get the ball rolling that way. And by the way, I think it's hilarious what he said about mowing the lawn and dishwasher because that's kind of it's kind of how it works in my house, although I do try to help with the dishwasher every now and then. But what I get back is, honey, it doesn't go there. It goes over here.
That's right. You're doing the dishes wrong in the dishwasher.
And it turns out to be an exercise that should take 5 minutes, but every time I help, it tends to take 10 minutes.
Hey, just stay in your lane, Steve. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. I kind of get that speech every time I do it, but... I want to get a little A for the effort. That's all. All right.
I get you.
But I think he's right about that. People tend to do that. It's just the way the world works. And depending on the couples. And I'll tell you, in the past, in the 80s and 90s, when I talked to people, it was like 90% the guys in charge of the finance and, right, and all this other stuff. And I just used to sit there and just smile because I'd say, okay, you might be in charge, but you're probably going to be the first one to go there, buddy. So you better make sure that your spouse knows what's going on. But these days, I'm finding it's a lot more equal, which is fun. It's more refreshing that both spouses take ownership more today than I've seen in the past. And that helps me with my job, too. So I like that a lot.
And that's also part of your process. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they come in and sit there down, and you might be able to tell one is more financial savvy than the other, but you waste no time when it comes to engaging that other person and saying, okay, I want to make sure everybody understands. This is the plan A. This is the plan B. This is how this works.
It's important because sometimes I'll see that one spouse will try to take over the conversation. And I'll be like, well, hold on. Let's just back up. Let's make sure that we're both on board with what's going on and what the ideas are. Obviously, in my family, I tend to take it over because this is what I do for a living. But I also feel it's important that Tracy knows at least what's going on and where the monies are. So I set up these spreadsheets, if you will, of where all our monies are, the account numbers, everything. And then I password protect the password, which is another password to protect that. I mean, it's literally Fort Knox to get in, but she knows all that stuff and how to do it because it's really important. Because let me tell you something, gang. When you lose a spouse, not only is it a tremendous emotional loss and potentially could be a financial loss too, it's also just so stressful on the survivor to try to reel stuff in. We do these meetings. We've been in business a very long time. We've had clients pass away. It happens. As a matter of fact, we just had a meeting this week with one of my clients who we've had forever. Listen to this. He's been married 65 years. Can you imagine?
Wow, that's amazing.
And to lose a loved one after that long is just so hurtful. And so we wanted to do everything we could to help him and, the family that they bring in. We want to be there for them and to walk them through and to take the financial situation off the table as much as we can because they have enough on their plate. So listen, that's what we do here. We want to help people. We want to put them in a position where they can understand what's going on and what they have. It's priority for us. We really do, Jess. So if this is something that you folks listening out there are concerned about or have thought about and want to get a handle on it, come see me. Let's have a talk. Let's have a conversation. I'm right here in Hyannis. It's a beautiful location right here on Main Street. Not a lot of tourists around right now, so not a lot of traffic. So come on down and love to have a conversation with you about it.
And again, that phone number, 508-552-3230. And also, folks, just want to let you know, whether it's a quick phone call or you pop in the office or what have you, this is a complimentary, meeting with you guys. This is, hey, these are my concerns, my wants, my needs. How can you help me? Tell me how, and your process is different from others. So just want to let you know that out the gate, it's complimentary. 508-552-3230. Now, Steve, I was kind of telling you during the break, when I think of people as rich as like anybody, Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, whoever it is, LeBron James, for some reason, the fact that they would even consider taking Social Security just completely escaped my brain because they have so much money. What's an extra couple thousand going to do for them? You know what I mean?
Listen, the reason why those people have so much money is they account for it.
So. I mean, I guess so. I bring all this up. Just stick with me, people. I bring all this up because Oprah, guys, listen, she is a billionaire, okay? But yes, she paid into it. She worked hours. She did all the things. So yes, she qualifies for the maximum benefit of a whopping $5,108 a month as long as she waited to claim to age 70 here. So that might be pocket change to her. But I bring all this up to say Social Security literally acts as a lifeline for millions of Americans here who really receive an average of about $2,000 a month. So Social Security, we know, is designed to make up for that 40% of income. So, Steve, I want to know from you, is there another strategy out there that mimics Social Security and can help fill that income gap? Because there's another 60% then we don't have covered.
But look at the interesting relationship between Oprah's paycheck, which sounds high, but at $5,100 a month, it's a mere fraction of her income versus the average American at $2,000 a month, which is certainly more than a mere fraction of their income. So Social Security is definitely meant for the middle class. There's no question about it. It was put out there in the 30s to, I don't want to say rescue America, but certainly to heal what was going on at that time around this country and around the world, frankly. So it's not the greatest system, folks. We know it. We understand that. We get it. However, you're paying into it. So you need to maximize it and learn how it works for both you and if you married your spouse, because it's one of the few pension plans that are left out there. So what else can mimic Social Security and fill the income gap? Well, believe it or not, annuities were built for that very purpose. And like them, don't like them, whatever, once people understand the benefits of annuities, and I've been in this business, this is my 40th year, Jess.
Wow. Congratulations.
I know. I'm excited. I'm glad I started when I was 10.
Exactly. You look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's important to understand that the basis of an annuity is where you give money over and then get a check back. That's the very design of the basic annuity product. And we're not going to get into all the different variations. We'll do that when you come in the office to see what's right for you. But understand that if you are concerned about guaranteed lifetime income, not proposed, not hypothetical, but guaranteed lifetime income for you, and again, if you married your spouse, if you are concerned about creating a financial safety net, if you will, with your cash flow and income, so that you don't have to get, as we Italians put it, agita, okay,
That's right.
when the market drops 22% like it did a few years back, or drops at the time you're ready to retire. If you want flexibility of payout options, well, Steve, maybe I don't want it for life. Maybe I want it for 20 years or 15 years. What if you are interested in reducing the longevity risk of living too long? We're living longer today, Jess, which is, on its face, it sounds wonderful, but what if you run out of money? What if you're 84, 85, still fairly healthy, right? Driving, doing your thing, going on vacations, and you have nothing left but a Social Security check?
Yeah.
That is the last thing in the world you want to have happen. So with that in mind, there are strategies, there are ideas that can fill those gaps in. That's what we're here for, and have been doing this for a very long, long time. And why we're independent and represent so many different companies out there is to help people figure this puzzle out, if you will, and add greater financial peace of mind to their retirement income needs, Jess.
Get more details on the website, fairwayfinancial.net. That's fairwayfinancial.net.
Steve Anzuoni is a licensed insurance provider by the Division of Insurance and is not registered as an investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve Anzuoni, Massachusetts Insurance License 3851053. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Anzuoni is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Anzuoni is licensed in your state, please call 508-398-3337.